What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today on the Asus G15 Advantage, and today we're finally going to get to Escape from Tarkov. Now, I think somebody asked me to do this one like a month, possibly more than that ago, but honestly, what kept happening is all these new games kept coming out. So I kept having to do all these other games. But finally I have a chance to do it real quick, because the only new game I really have to do right now is that Castillo protocol or whatever it's called. It's kind of like a Dead Space game, but I had somebody request it. But I told them I didn't want to play it until it stopped stuttering, but apparently they already fixed it. I guess they were quick. I watched like the Joker production guy do a little video on it, and that was horrid. Even on a 4080, I know I have a 4090, and it's more powerful, but it's not gonna make the game playable. It was just a stutter fest. So I guess that's fixed. So I guess I'll probably buy that game soon. I wish there was a way for me to just test it out first, but it's not available on Game Pass or Ubisoft Plus or what do you call it? What the hell is the one for Origin called? I think they call it something. Is it Uplay? No, that's Ubisoft. What the fuck is it? Oh, whatever. Or on whatever you call it, EA's thing either. So you just have to buy this one. So hopefully I like it. If not, oh well. At least it's only $59.99 on PC instead of $70 like it is on console. So at least there's that. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and hop on into Escape from Tarkov, look at some settings, and get some gameplay in. Of course, we got to hook it up to our capture computer first, though. Alright, before we jump into the actual game, let's go over the settings we're going to try out first. We're going to do very low and work our way on up to ultra, and we'll do some FSR 2. So let's just scroll all the way down here so you guys can see all the settings. And then I'm thinking that it will check these guys at the bottom, you know, as we up the graphics quality, I'm thinking. But anyway, now that we've saved it real quick, where the graphics go? There it is. All right, now why don't we just go ahead and move on into the game. Starting off here at very low. Let's just run around a little bit here. Definitely seems like this is going to be an interesting game. I think I've got a couple of my friends that are interested in trying it too. Although they want to try this thing, I guess, in Warzone 2.0 they said is similar, that sounds similar to this, and it's free. So I guess they want to try that first. Oh, what the hell is a big bubbly thing in there? What the fuck?
бля, ебать его! Нет никого.
Alright then, I guess why don't we just move on? On to just low now. Here's all of our settings though, before we get into the game. And we'll do some FSR 2. It is only FSR 1.0, but hey, better than nothing, I guess. Though half the time it doesn't work on this laptop with the Steam Deck. I think they're just too low resolution for to benefit much, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop on in the game. Now we're gonna do a little low. So let's just keep on moving around a little bit here, I guess. And try not to get blown up this time.
Oh, damn. They got me really bad.
Hurt.
This is the end for me. I'm finished.
Alright, none of that is useful to me. Anyway, let's move around. Honestly, I feel like we're getting better FPS now. Before we were even getting close to going under 60. Hell, we might even gone under 60 a little, but I think it made the resolution so low it just bottlenecked like crazy. People tell me the CPU is a very CPU-intensive game, which makes me very excited to try it out with the 1300KF and the 5800X 3D. Both of them should be able to do really good with this game.
And my thermal pads for my laptop project just came in today. So now I've got the washers, the M2 washers, and I've got the thermal pads. Now I'm just waiting on the new liquid metal. It should either be here tomorrow or the next day from the looks of it. It's not giving me like a delivery date yet, even though it's just in like Illinois, which is like right below me. So I would think it would get here tomorrow, but at the latest, probably the next day. Now time for some medium. So, of course, let's just go over the settings real fast. Alright, yep, it definitely does click some stuff on, that's for sure. Good. And now, into the game. This is now some medium. Let's turn that back on, otherwise this is completely pointless. Almost forgot to do that. And now let's just run around and get a little gameplay in. And I am pretty excited to get done with these voiceovers. I get to go finish watching Mob Psycho 100, and also go watch Chainsaw Man. I know it came out like a bunch of days ago, but I usually watch everything on Monday, but didn't quite have time. Had somebody come over and paint and touch up the house a little, starting to get ready to get it to be ready to totally be painted and sold and all that good stuff. Well, put on the market and then sold. It'd be awesome if it was already sold beforehand and all I gotta do is like fix a couple things. That'd be great. But it's gonna take a little while to sell. Wished I would have been able to sell it into the, like, you know, when the housing markets were like paying top dollar, but at least it's still not too bad yet. Anyway, let's go ahead and move along. On to high mode. So let's just look at the high settings really fast, and then of course we'll get on into it. Not too awful many settings here. I think it turned on like, I think one more toggle there. Anyway, into the game. Here we go, high settings now, which is honestly what you should play at. I pretty much tried to copy high settings and turned a couple more settings down, but like just taking 2 toggle switches off, I guess, fucked us over and got us down into the 90s during my settings. So don't listen to the future me. Play this just on high. You'll get the best FPS apparently, at least from what I can tell here. I don't think we ever get anywhere near 120 again, but we'll see. Because I'm pretty sure once we go to Ultra, that drops it back down into under 100 again. But only time will tell. Maybe I'm misremembering. Or maybe it's just because of the place I was at. That could be too. So maybe I shouldn't say that quite yet. Though some people are going to hear that and then just go, all right, cool, I'm just going to run these and leave. So hopefully they keep on watching a little farther. Just so they can see what all the settings are like. Anyway, now why don't we move on? Now for Ultra. So, of course, it's time to go over the Ultra settings. And then we'll move on to some FSR after this. Just wanted to make sure high was the highest. Because if not, I was just going to go into like custom mode and just do a maxed out as well. But, alright, now we should probably leave that alone. If even Ultra leaves that at 2, anything higher than that's probably going to make the damn game unplayable. So let's just leave that alone, I guess. People can mess with that later. And of course, we'll do this at the end, before my settings. And now, let's go ahead, look at the couple of these things here, and move into the game. Alright. Now let's do Ultra, and of course turn that on. Alright, that was weird. Frickin' had an overlay come on while I was playing the video trying to do my voiceovers here. So, it was already on the whole time, so never mind what I was saying before. I had to turn that off. That was tripping me out. And it's like, wait a minute, this thing doesn't have... I don't usually show all my cores and all that. Why is it so big? What the fuck's going on? Oh well. We got it all under control, so that's all that really matters. So now let's just get a little gameplay in. Now, some people would say this is already way too low FPS, but I don't know. I could still probably play this, but I would like a little more FPS than this generally. So I still say so far I would stick with the... Ow, I shouldn't have ran through there. I would stick with running on high. High seemed to get us the highest FPS so far, even better than my settings. I feel stupid actually doing my settings the way I did now. And that was like a fluke from just the area I was in, I guess. So there still could be that too. Just throwing that out there. I like to try to cover all my bases. Anyway, though, time to move on the money. I don't think FSR 2.0 has an ultra quality. I think it's just quality. But anyway, we'll just look at the rest of these settings real quick here. And alright, time to get back into the game. So, now, this is FSR now. So let's just run around a little. You can definitely tell something's going on right away. Everything looks like super weird, kind of, if you look off into the distance, but it looks like it did get us like a couple FPS, like what, maybe 10? But obviously nothing dramatic, but I wasn't expecting any dramatic changes, not at least with ultra quality. I think that's barely any different than native anyway, so why would it be that different, right? Misty just came to visit. You don't need to go back there. That's not for kiddies, silly. That's full of batteries and cords and all sorts of bad things that you shouldn't be getting tangled in. We don't want you getting electrocuted. Hell no. Alright, though. Let's go ahead, move on to the next FSR setting now. Well, now it is time for just FSR quality. So again, we'll just look over all the settings, just show you guys everything's the same, except for changing the quality setting on the FSR. Because it'd totally mess everything up if we changed anything else. That would be definitely bad. So there we go, all this stuff too. Everything is the same. So with that said, let's get back to the game. Now let's get ourselves some FSR quality. Run around a little bit here. Found kind of like a highway road here. We got buses, cranes, all sorts of shit. And other cars just chilling here. Sucks you can't drive nothing. Seems like FSR 1.0 kind of like puts a lot of little tiny dots in the screen. It's kind of the best way I can describe it. Just doesn't look quite right. At least FSR 1.0. 2.0 and plus is a lot better, so not quite up to DLSS's standards yet, but at least it's cool that it works on everything. That's at least its cool point. Sure, it can't work quite as well, but works on everything. Anyway, moving on. Well, now here we go with some FSR Balanced. Here's all the same settings, so everything is precisely the same as it was for the rest of the FSR settings. So, now, time to get back into the game. Now for some FSR Balanced. So let's just run around just a teensy bit. And that's the last one I can do. I would do performance just to be thorough, but it won't let me. It's grayed out. So I don't know what that's all about, but can't do what I can't do, so this is going to be our last FSR, and then we'll move on to my settings, which, if I can remember correctly, are kind of a fail, and you should probably use high, but we'll see what happens once we get back to them. Maybe I will have changed my mind again. But I'm pretty sure high got us better FPS, and it still looked really fucking good, so. Again, though, like I keep saying, that could just be I was in one spot that just so happened to be very graphic inattentive, so we'll take that with a grain of salt for now. Game definitely sucks up the GPU memory unless it's just using SAM, Smart Access Memory, for those who don't know. If it's anything like NVIDIA's Rebar, sometimes game will just use most of your RAM. Even though it's not actually using it all, it's just allocating it all. It's supposed to make it better, like, performance or something like that. Oh, what's this thing? Oh, it's a starter. I attack the starter. Now I take the starter. Aha, it's my starter now. No one can have it but me. Anyway, let's move on. Well, now it is time for my settings, which I'm not quite sure how this is going to work out compared to how high worked, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's turn that off. I pretty much tried to copy high and just take a couple more settings off, figuring it would give me more FPS, you know? But maybe it made too less of a load on the GPU. Who knows? But let's go and find out. Here we go with my settings now, and as you can see, we're sitting right around 99 to 100 FPS now instead of like 120 or 130 like we were getting before, but that could have just been because of the area I was in, so you'll have to make your guys' best call on that. I still think it looked just fine and was getting way more FPS on high, though, so that's what I would do. Just change it to preset high and leave it alone. Don't touch anything if you want, like, lots of FPS. That's what it did to me anyway, but I guess maybe it's different for everybody. So I can only report what's happening to me. But we'll get ourselves a little my settings gameplay here with some screen, and then we'll go get some with the camera, too. Because I know some people like watching the camera, and as a bonus, at least when we're not doing the capture card like we are now, it helps out with, you know, performance. But this shouldn't be affecting frame rate at all. I still think sometimes it makes the frame times go a little hard or haywire, but it doesn't really affect the actual frame rate much, if at all. Well, alrighty. Why don't we go ahead and move on to some camera now. Alright guys, let's get ourselves a little camera gameplay now. Feels nice to actually have like responsive feeling mouse and keyboard when you're looking at the OBS window on the capture computer, which they even tell you not to do. It's really laggy and stuttery, and I don't even know how I ever kill anybody when I do online games. Shit. It's really coming down. Bit of a damn thunderstorm. Onward! Damn, it didn't work. Well, fuck it. Let's just keep exploring. Now, obviously, these aren't like super ultra fucking badass FPS numbers for a first-person shooter, but still good enough for me. I'm not a super competitive player and things like this. And honestly, this seems to be about the same kind of FPS it was getting in Warzone 2.0 too, and I was still able to kill people on that. So, as long as it's not stuttering like crazy and dropping frames all over the place, I'm all good. And honestly, it seems to have really nice frame times for a DirectX 11 game. And usually those are good, but half the time on AMD, DirectX 11 doesn't work out so hot. But I did hear there was some updates recently that really helped it out. And also an OpenGL one that also helped it out. So, that's pretty dope. They're constantly fixing stuff. Glad about that. They could just go, nope, we don't care. But that would be no way to do business. I would be like, okay, well, apparently they don't care and all their stuff sucks, so let's only buy NVIDIA. And then AMD's graphics division would go out of business, and that would not be good. Because then it would just be Intel and NVIDIA, and we'd be back to 2. What are you doing, mister? You want attention? She scared the heck out of me. She just put both arms, one on each shoulder, and started meowing in my ear. What are you doing, silly? Oh, now you're making me run into an excavator. You're such a silly kitty. But you're an awesome silly kitty. Yeah. You are. Such a silly kitty. I think she just wants attention. She's probably like, hey, why are you playing that game and talking to a camera when you could be petting and paying attention to me? Or it could just be a, hey, I'm trying to sleep here. Will you kindly shut the fuck up, human? Do you want me to stop talking? Hey. Can you not jump in this game, really? No, you can. I guess I just couldn't where I was. Nope, now she's leaving. I think it was mostly the, hey, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep here. So she's probably just trying to, like, meow at me and, like, poke at me, like, hey, human, I'm trying to sleep here. Will you be quiet? Okay, you won't? Well, screw you then. I'm gonna go find somewhere else in the house to sleep until you stop making your videos. Well, I'll come back soon, Misty. Because I'm going to be making these videos pretty much all day. Usually it doesn't bother her, but maybe she didn't sleep good last night or whatever. Who knows? Cats are mammals too. I'm sure they have a lot of the same problems with sleep and colds and other stuff, just like humans do, even if they can't show emotions in the exact same way. But anyway, I think that's enough camera recorded gameplay, so now, why don't we go wrap this video up now?
Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Escape from Tarkov, and it handles it pretty well. I was honestly expecting a little more FPS, and it confuses me. I got really good FPS when I was just on high before. It seemed like I was getting 120, 130, but then when I put it back to high and then turned shadows down a little more, it seemed like it went down a lot though, down to like 90s to 114. So that's kind of weird. So honestly, instead of using my settings, hell, it might be better to just use high. But anyway, still not like my settings were horrible. I can still play a first-person shooter around 100 FPS as long as we're not like barely straddling the line of 60 FPS. I remember I used to have a HP Elite 8200 that I used to take to my friends' houses before I got this laptop, and that thing had a 1050 Ti in it, and it struggled to do Call of Duty and a lot, even on low. I'd get instances where I'd drop down in like the 50s, and that would suck ass in the middle of a gunfight. I was so happy when I finally got this thing. This thing was a huge upgrade, and much easier to carry around too. even if you include the frickin' giant fan that I strap underneath it when I'm not making these videos. But anyway, I'd say it's very, very good and kind of loud, so if I was going to play a game like this, I'd recommend some headphones. Even though this thing's speakers are awesome, it's kind of hard to hear people's footsteps and whatnot, even if you turn it up to 100%. And I don't know, 100% might not actually hurt the speakers, but I had bad experiences where I turned laptop speakers up to 100% just to like play a song and show my friends one time, and then they like rattled and rasped and acted like they were blown. So ever since then, I've tried not to max out speakers, and I just have a thing about maxing things out. Besides fans. Fans can be replaced. I'd rather get good cooling. That's why I have those at 100%. But anyway, I'm a rambling. Why don't we just end this video here? I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure the people who were waiting for it are like, finally, he's done it. But now it's time for me to go at least do 1440p. I don't think I'm going to do ultra wide or 4K with this game either. I just don't think that's going to give us playable frame rates. But I'm hoping 1440p with that performance boost will be as good, if not better, than it was here. But we'll have to wait for the next video to find out. So, till then, peace out, guys.